Peace and blessings. Welcome back to the channel once again, where we talk all things health and healing from a holistic perspective, and today will be no different. Today, I'm going to describe to you a medicinal plant, which is one of my favorite medicinal plants to use. In particular, this one is really good in the case where you're fighting some kind of infection that involves the lungs, that also involves inflammation. And I'll break down in just a second how it does that. But what is important to know is that there are always natural and holistic ways to approach any dis-ease or lack of wellness in the body. And what's also really important to recognize and understand as well too is that for thousands of years, us as human beings have been using these plant-based medicinal remedies to heal ourselves as well too. And so I'm going to be sharing that with you today. This one in particular is one that I use. I travel a lot. Some months I'm on a plane 7 times, and that's a lot. And being on a plane, you have to understand the whole process of going through the airport, or going through metal detectors and sometimes machines that are emitting off radiation. And then I get through there and finally get on the plane. And I'm on the plane and I'm breathing in all of this recycled air with 300 to 400 other people on the plane as well too. I'm also getting radiation from the plane. I'm also at an altitude that humans are not designed to be on as well too. Okay. And then I have to do the same thing on a return flight. Okay. So I do that 7 times a month sometimes when I'm really, really busy. Okay. And so as a result of being that busy and also thinking about living in a home, I don't build my home. Sometimes there's a leak and you don't know there's a leak. There could be mold in a place that you don't recognize because you can't see the inside or the inside of your house. Okay. There could be, if you live in a home where you have mattresses that have flame retardants, because most do. Okay. And those flame retardants give off fumes as well too. Okay. Household products. I can go on and on. Then we go outside and you think about all of the pollutants that are in the air today as well too. And what's really important to understand is that all of these things many of them did not exist 60, 70 years ago. And so our lungs are being freshly exposed to things that humans that have been developing over 1 million years have never been exposed to in these last 70 years, which is like a fraction of a second on the human timeline. And so our lungs are like, what is that? So of course, as a result of breathing in these toxins, these things have become irritants to our lungs and our lung tissue. And as a result of irritating our lung tissue, now the tissue becomes inflamed. And now that it's inflamed, it sort of signals our immune system to release all these histamines. These histamines are what are leading to this explosion in asthma and this explosion in allergies, which were coming up on the springtime here. So a lot of people are going to be complaining about their allergies, okay, because the histamine levels are so high. Okay, so as a result, I wanted to present you with a holistic and natural option that is not only good for the lungs, but it's good for the body in general. And again, this is something that I use on a very common basis. As a matter of fact, before I get on the plane, I got a little pack where all my little medicinal things go into. And one of them is always this, and that is oil of oregano or oregano in general, okay? Now, oregano, most people are familiar with it because most people cook with it, okay? And I always like to remind people that a lot of the things that I'm recommending is not a herb in the sense of being something, a pharmaceutical or nutraceutical. It is food, okay? And somehow we've industrialized food even when it's natural as well too. But again, this is something straight from nature, okay? And the herb, oregano, which I have a little bit here, it is an olive green leaf, and when it grows, it has a little purple flower with it. And when you look at the leaves have like a little velvety appearance and even a touch to it as well too. So this is oregano. And I was just doing a video with my tribe healing community and which is my membership program. And I was just going through the different herbs with them to help them be able to recognize them. Because the more you're able to recognize something, the more your body will call out to it. So when you are getting sick and you don't even know here that you're getting sick, your body will say oregano because it recognizes that this is what I need in this case. Okay? And so I highly recommend you start to get more familiar with the herbs that are available because, again, herbs are made for the healing of our nation, the nation being this body. Okay? And what I also like about oregano is that the oil is taken from the leaf and the stems and it's done through steam distillation. Now, this oil is packed with a lot of antioxidants and a lot of medicinal compounds, namely these terpene phenols. In particular, the ones that I'm talking about that's going to be really helpful for, helping to heal the lungs and fighting infection are going to be carvacrol and also thymol. Now, thymol is really good because it boosts the immune system, but it also helps boost the ability to get rid of toxins as well, too. And as I said before, the air outside is polluted with heavy metals, all kind of, pollution that is coming from the cars. The list goes on and on. We think about the amount of time that we spend inside of buildings, breathing in recycled air, okay? So we're constantly being exposed to a lot of these toxins. And again, one of these medicinal compounds in oregano helps to remove some of these toxins as well, too, not to mention cigarette smoke, vaping, and things of that nature as well, too, okay? The other compound, carvacrol, is really good at fighting bacterial infections, okay? Namely staphylococcus. Now, staphylococcus, you may have heard of staph infection. This is one of the #1 hospital-acquired infections, meaning you went into the hospital. You could have went into the hospital for high blood pressure, but you got a hospital-acquired infection because you were in the hospital, okay? And oil of oregano is very good for that one. Again, I take mine prophylactically. I take it before I get on the plane, okay? So sometimes I even encourage people to do such a thing when they know they're going into an environment where they potentially are going to be around people who are sick as well, too. The other thing that I love about oil of oregano is this, is oil of oregano is good at helping with coughs and spasms as well, too. Now, it does it in a very healthy way. And what I mean by that is it does it in a way where it gets rid of the mucus so you don't cough, as opposed to taking something that is synthetic over the counter or prescription. It just stops you from hacking up the mucus, so it stops the cough reflex, okay? But the important thing is this. When you're producing mucus as a result of the irritant and also the inflammation caused by the irritant, okay? So you want to get that irritant out of the system, one, to get rid of the inflammation, which will stop the mucus from being produced in the first place, okay? So that's what I really love about oil of oregano as well, too, okay? The other huge benefit is antimicrobial, it's antibacterial, it's antifungal, and it's antiviral, okay? So it covers the whole entire spectrum of potential, infections, all right? So oil of oregano. Let's talk about how do you use it, all right? The first and most important way that you should always use it is to eat it, okay? I incorporate herbs into my smoothies. I incorporate them into my salads. I incorporate them into my food when I'm cooking as well too. And as much as possible, I try to get the whole herb, okay? So you eat it, grow it and eat it. And even if you don't have a backyard or a front yard, you can grow herbs on your windowsill. Okay, so grow it and eat it is one way you can get it in your body consistently, and it's probably the most important way to do it. The second way is, let's say, for instance, you got an infection, okay, in the lungs, and you feel tightness in your chest, inflammation, mucus is coming up, you're coughing all the time. Guess what? All of those things fit the bill for oil of oregano, okay? But you can't get it directly into your lungs. So what do? You boil some water on the stove, put a couple of drops of the oil of oregano in the water, let the steam come up, put a towel over your head and breathe in that steam, okay? Get it into your lungs that way. You also can take a couple of drops of eucalyptus oil as well too, all right? This also could be done by boiling them as well too, the actual herbs, okay? So that's the second way. Number 3, you can use the oil, okay? Again, this is always in my medicine pack. So you can use the actual oil of oregano. Now, here's the important thing. With oil of oregano, it is something else. All right. So it's tough when you take oil of oregano, especially if you do not have good dental health. Okay. So for those who are struggling with gum disease, tooth issues, like you don't want to take this by mouth. It's tough. All right. But what you can do is follow the directions on the bottle. And the other thing is put it in an 8-ounce glass of water. Okay, stir it up and drink it that way. Okay. Now again, it is not for the faint-hearted. So I just want to remind you of that. I pop it like no problem because I do it all the time, but just want to give you that fair warning. Follow the instructions on the bottle. Okay. The last way that you can use it is you can use it topically. So let's say you had a potential infection on the leg, on the arm somewhere that wasn't getting better and it wasn't an open wound. What you could do is put a couple of drops of the oil of oregano in a carrier oil like coconut oil, okay? Because you do not want to put oil of oregano directly on any kind of anything that is topical, all right? So you want to put it in a carrier oil like coconut oil. Okay, mix it up, and then you can apply it to the area. Just make sure it's not an open wound. So those are the few ways that you can use oil of oregano. All right, so I hope this video has been helpful. Make sure you subscribe, share this video, like, comment below, because I'm trying to produce content that really impacts people and gives them not only information, but gives them direction on how they can actually incorporate a healthier lifestyle into their life. All right. Until the next time, peace and blessings and Godspeed.